Welcome to The Other Side of the Bridge with Iron City Paranormal, where they discuss real investigations, first-hand experiences, unexplained moments, and everything that happens when you step off the regular path and onto the other side of the bridge. Just honest paranormal talk, Iron City Paranormal style. And now, here are your hosts, Derek Smith and Dan Metelsky.
There are places where the familiar fades and the unknown begins. A bridge is one of those places. It's where we leave solid ground behind, and for a moment we're suspended between what we understand and what we don't. Tonight, we're crossing that bridge together. Welcome back, or welcome to The Other Side of the Bridge, the show where we explore real experiences, strange encounters, and unanswered questions from the space in between. We're not here to tell you what to believe. We're here to walk with you across the bridge and into the unknown. Welcome back for part 2 of the Blennerhassett case study. That was the first time I made it through without stumbling on those words.
You were on it.
Pretty excited about that, guys.
Good.
I'm not gonna lie. That was the first time. I tried to be relaxed and tried to do it nice and fluid, and I'm glad it was successful.
Whatever it was, do it. Keep it going. That was good. That was very good.
So we're back to full strength this week. We were shorthanded last week. Aaron wasn't able to join us. So Aaron, good to have you back with us.
Glad to be here.
We are on part 2 of the Blennerhassett Island case study, as we say. Now we're headed outside. So part 1, for those that remember, those that were with us, we were in the mansion. You know, we had a lot of cool experiences inside the mansion. We had evidence we reviewed. We had stories to tell. Just really cool recreated mansion. The original mansion burned down. They recreated it in its likeness. Now we're outside. Now this is where stuff starts to get pretty wild. So it's kind of like what's left, right? You guys will notice a major shift in themes from what we experienced inside the mansion. More of a, I would say, like a family type interaction with people, with children spirits, with just generally, I would say, welcoming type energies. As we go outside into a few different areas on the backside of the island, like I said, there's just going to be a complete shift in what we experience. So I was looking forward to this one all week. I'm not going to lie, guys.
Well, I mean, this is really what brought us here, as it was. It's been our one big picture for the longest time. I mean, it's everywhere. I've mentioned it before. It's on the background of my computer, and this is our original like big hit, right? This is what we told everybody about. Look what we got. But you're right. I mean, the mansion is a completely different feel than the island. I mean, there's more history to it if you really think about it. I mean, the island was there first. It wasn't all about the mansion. And if you think about it, even before the mansion, the Blennerhassetts were there. They had a different place to stay. The whole place in general was a different feel than just the mansion.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of wild to think about it, right? Because the entire island, the mansion is a very small portion of that historical timeline, right? This land started as Native American, land. They were
Right.
on this island for many, many years before settlers came anywhere near it. So it's really the island that holds the story, right? The mansion is just such a small portion that, when we branched outside, now we're getting, I don't want to say into uncharted territory, but it's just kind of like the OGs as far as the spirit world is concerned, right? Like these energies, these spirits were there for way longer than any of the structures on the island. So that's why it's really cool to unpack all of the things that we experienced there. And having Aaron and Sabrina on with us, neither of them were obviously with us during the investigation. This was many years ago. I would like to get their input as we go through, because
Absolutely.
you guys bring such a unique perspective on it that we can't, bring ourselves. And we're so close to it, and we were so close to it for so long, having gone here 4 times over the course of our, you know, uh,
Wow.
time working early on. We've done 4 separate investigations at this location. So Derek and I
Which
are
is
very
it's
close.
exactly why we ended up calling it a case study, right? Because I
Mhm.
mean, that's what else do you do with a location that you're there for so many times?
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear what perspective you guys bring, because like I said, it's going to be new for you guys, right? And you'll be listening to some of the evidence for the first time. You'll be seeing some of the photos for the first time. And this area, like I say, being outside, and the energy shift, it's much more kind of like wilderness, right? We're in the woods on part of this. We are not in this small structure that is like a home that we're used to being in, right? And that's why, that's, like I said, that's why I'm excited. I'm excited to get into this.
I mean, that's right. So where do we go from here, right? I mean, we covered the mansion inside and out.
Mhm.
So the island, I mean, what do you got left? What's left, right? I mean,
Yep.
where do we start?
Well, we start by going further into the darkness, right?
Right.
Literally, right? We come off the ferry on the initial investigation. In the initial episode, we talked about kind of the layout of the whole thing, right? We came across the Ohio River on this ferry. We get off on the island. We trudge all of our crap that we brought to camp and to ghost hunt with us, for 8-10 hours. We bring all of it on our backs and on carts, and we set up camp, and then we go to work, right? We go to work as far as the investigation is concerned. So the mansion's obviously the first thing you'll see, right? It's a big, beautiful building. It's the forefront. It's well lit. It's a big white building, so it stands out. But then there's the stuff behind it, where there's those long gravel pathways that go further back away from what we'll call civilization on the island, right? You just get further back into this unexplored looking region. Obviously, it's been explored. It's part of the island. It's part of the historical grounds of the island. But I can say, when Derek and I went back to these other buildings, as you got past the mansion, there were fewer and fewer people going with us, right?
Right.
Like, people don't want to go into the woods. They don't want to go where there's potential scary things that they can't protect themselves from. So it kind of became our own investigation, rather than having all of these people around us. It became just me and Derek. And I think that's when the island and the buildings, even though we're back there, started to open up to us quite a bit more.
I
But I
would
mean,
think
that's kind of the part of it that feels forgotten, right? I mean, it's just like you said, it's after the mansion, it's just the woods. It's just the wilderness, and it's exactly how it feels. Forgotten.
Yeah. So what were you saying, Sabrina? Before you were rudely cut off?
I was
Please.
it just feels so big with just 2 people, I can only imagine. And so it must have been so dark and absolutely kind of creepy, but also really cool that the rest of the group left you guys. I mean, I can only imagine how much more you could hear because it was just the 2 of you left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when we got back, like, after we spent some time back there, people did eventually find us, right? Derek and I were not running from people. We were also running from people. Like, we were still we wanted the creep factor. We wanted that, you're alone on this scary island with ghosts. We wanted to get away from the general population a little bit. just because it adds to it, right? Not because we wanted to get away from the people. We really enjoyed working with people, but it was just neat, right? And so when we were back there, they eventually found us. But like I say, the island definitely seemed to, it's going to sound cheesy, but come alive, right? They kind of started talking to us a little bit more when we were back there. And ultimately, we're going to get into this on the second half of this episode, but we're going to really do a deep dive on that thing that we kind of touched on before we were even into the case study, which is that Witcher, or not the Witcher, geez, the Watcher, the Watcher photo. So we have a way better version of it this time. It was kind of hard to see on when we kind of like showed the and kind of gave up the the spoiler on before we got into this case study. But we found a way better image that we're going to share with everybody on the second half of this episode and get into what Watchers are. But I do want to spend some time going through some of these major structures that are in the back of the island, because they all do have a history, right? They all build to the story of the island.
That's right. And I mean, if you think about it, the first one that you really come to, you take that ride around the island, you get the history of it. The first one that really catches your eye outside of the mansion is the Neal House. And that one, I know that we were drawn to it. I mean, it was fascinating in its own right.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys caught it, but on the show notes, I have this section referred to as the deteriorating reminder of the island's transition, right? What does that mean? What in crap does that mean? Like this was actually built, I think it was built after the initial mansion.
It was.
Correct?
It was.
The mansion wasn't the initial structure. That was the Blockhouse that we're going to get into in a little bit. But this was built after the main mansion, correct?
Yes, this was actually after the mansion burnt down. The mansion was really like just left for abandon. The Neal family actually bought the island, the entire island, and this is after politics, the luxury of it. It was for work. I mean, it was bare bones. It was survival. And they bought the island just because of location and because of what they saw as just a venture for farming. But the to kind of add to your descriptions of it, Walt Whitman, who stayed at the island there in 1849, wrote "The Queen of the Waters," and it gave this entire thing its historical, importance, just to kind of narrate it a little bit better. And this mansion at the time is what was standing. It was for work, nothing crazy, no lavish parties, no guests coming in. It was a workhouse.
Yeah, but this house isn't short of its own ghost stories, right? We don't know a lot about this house as far
Right.
as ghost stories. Whenever they gave us the initial walkthrough, they were like, "Oh yeah, here's this really creepy abandoned building," and like the things that you just told us, they did point out to us, through osmosis, so to speak. We heard from talking to different people with this historical society and with the paranormal group that was hosting the event. We did find out that there's kind of a it's kind of a disagreement between people within the historical realm on whether or not the Blennerhassetts and the Neals or the Neals owned slaves during the time that they were on the island. This building is actually really interesting because we were actually told that in the basement, where you can't access it anymore, obviously, I'm not going to get underneath that thing, right? I'm not going.
You look at that thing with the fence around it. I mean, that's barbed wire fence, if you can't tell. Yeah.
So there's rumor that there are shackles that they had located on the wall of the building whenever they were able to get under there before it became too deplorable, that they may or may not have been used for slaves. We don't know, right? They really don't have any history behind that one way or the other. But just your normal lore here, right? The shadow figure standing in the window, that there's always just that one person standing around the corner, so to speak. It's just a really weird sense when you get back around this building. But I think we did have some things that we captured here, correct, Eric?
Oh, we did. And one of those things was actually through a thermal camera. Now, what we got here, as we were spending some time, the trees surrounding it were kind of old, deteriorated. There wasn't much around it as far as upkeep, and so the trees around it were all like stuck together. You couldn't get back there, not easily. And we had tried a few different things. The dowsing rods were actually a really good hit here. Got a lot of yes or no answers. But when we really started to get good communication going, it was through flashlights that started turning on and off. And there was some like you were saying, with the miscommunication, we hit that on the head. As far as what actually happened here. With that said, the thermal image that we captured, there was a clear handprint on this tree, as if somebody was watching from afar. Love showing this one off because you can see the blue of the tree, right? You can see the color of people from behind it. But as we ventured back kind of around, because people were starting to feel that, we were being watched from afar, we're like, let's take a walk. Thermal camera in one hand, infrared in the other, just to see what's going on. And it was as if there was somebody right there moments ago just watching and seeing what we were doing.
Yeah, and in hindsight, right, after we got that watcher photo later, spoiler, right, maybe it was that. We don't know, right? I don't think we ever put that together.
We didn't, but I don't think, the height of this would have been much shorter than
that's true.
What the watchers were. But yeah, we never really put those together. But what I want to show next, this same tree, there was a clip there that we captured of the flashlight. As I was saying, we got some good captures, some yes or no responses. And just to continue that, now you guys know from doing flashlight sessions that it's once you get it going, once you kind of get a rhythm, these entities seem to be the most responsive in the moment, right? Like as they're going, as you pick it up.
So what kind of questions were you asking that were getting those responses? Do you remember?
For the most part, it was about the building itself. Mm-hmm. I remember we started to get some questions regarding who was there, why they were there, even to hit that hard nail on the head about whether they had slaves there or not. And that one comes down to an actual recording we got there. If you'd like me to play that, I can kind of give that a go. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to be able to hear that any better this time around or not from last time. but we did try to amplify that a little bit. I can give that a go here.
Walk away from it. Turn that off. Don't point it forward.
Yep.
It's getting brighter. It doesn't want to. But nope.
I'm putting forward again to another right here.
So again, we were getting simple answers. It wasn't anything extensive, but were you here? Did you have slaves here? It was hard to really pick up any finite communication lines. But Dan, I definitely remember that the dowsing rods were giving us the same answers, the yes or no questions. And it was, like I said, nothing finite.
Yeah, and so I think that's what we got for the most part on this back part of the island until we started working our way forward to the Blockhouse, right? So as you continue on, we kind of like walk. You go past the Neal House, you come around. There's the Blockhouse and the Putnam House. We don't need. We're not going to go into much with that Putnam House because we couldn't go in it or anything. It was off limits. It's actually not structurally sound. The floors are tilting and everything, so we weren't able to actually go into the building. But one of the coolest things about this damn place, they moved a freaking house from one side of the Ohio River on a barge over to this island because it was like flooding or something over on the mainland. So they like put it on a stinking barge to keep it safe, and they brought it over to this island and repositioned it.
Architecturally and engineering
so
speaking
cool
is
to me.
incredible.
So there's like, but what that does though is brings energy and spirits that may not be associated with the island at all, right, into the space. Now we're going to even complicate matters more, right? Now it's kind of just like we're literally throwing the spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks here because there's anybody's guess on what's coming through. So I just thought that was really cool. We don't have to spend much time on that. I just really think that's cool how they put a house on a barge and they got it across the water. That's neat to me.
Yeah, and like you said, there wasn't a lot to really go into there. It was more along the lines of just it's there, it happened, we can do that. We have the technology to be able to do something like that. But there was definitely a draw to it. Yep.
So we come around to the Blockhouse, and this Blockhouse was the house that the Blennerhassets lived in while they were building the house, right? It was originally set up as it was a blockhouse. It was like a fortress to kind of give them a safe place to stay, waiting for the mansion to be built while there were Native Americans still there.
So this was one of two blockhouses on the island, but it was kind of a fortification.
Yep.
Going back to, take away from the lavish of the mansion, it was about survival. It was getting you through day to day. And like you're saying, the Native Americans did not like people being there. So they didn't have much of a choice. While it was being built, this was their safe haven.
Yes, and you could feel a shift, right? You feel as you're getting closer to the Blockhouse area, we could tell something else was going on there. So this is kind of the environment that we were looking at, right? I mean, this is where the Blockhouse approximately stood, and this is where Derek and I.
Yeah, there was nothing. There's nothing left of it.
Yeah, but we did get a really neat mist, correct, that formed and kind of fell over the area while we were there.
So we can get into all that after the ad break here. I know that's coming up.
Yeah. So after the ad break, all of this so far has just kind of been a telling of, what the island was and everything else. But now this is where the whole thing shifts, and we get more than just stories. So stay with us.
Every ghost story and creature feature lies a far more terrifying truth. The real monsters wear human faces. In the chilling book, All Monsters Are Human, from Derek Smith, 10 Twisted Tales expose the darkest parts of a human soul. From killers hiding in plain sight to obsessions turned deadly. Each story invites you to step into a shadowed world where morality unravels, and the only thing more terrifying than what lurks in the dark is who. These aren't just horror stories. They're reflections of ourselves, showing what happens when fear, rage, guilt, and desire take control. Visit unexmedia.com for more information on All Monsters Are Human from Derek Smith. And you can purchase them at Amazon.com from unexmedia.com. The Unex Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes, made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unex Network website at unexnetwork.com. That's unexnetwork.com. The truth, it's out there, and it's waiting for you. The Unexplained Network is your source for the best in paranormal programming, live video streaming, and audio streaming from hauntings, UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, and the ever-expanding realm of the unexplained. Listen live or on demand now on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, and Pockets all over the World Wide Web. The Unexplained Network, where unexplained lives.
So by the time we got back to that Blockhouse area, the night was, not most of the way over, but it was well underway. And I would say that, that the dark was getting darker. The sun was completely down by this point. Again, people weren't with us. They weren't, shining flashlights everywhere. And we could feel that there was just, I don't want to say that like we're not alone kind of thing, right? But it was dark. There was leaves all over the ground. Like
something was off. Something was off. You could just tell.
Yeah, it was just the whole vibe of the area changed. And I think that's when we got that mist photo, correct, Eric?
Yeah, it was very close to the time frame of the Watcher when we actually got that picture. It was a very similar situation here. I will throw that up here. So very similar situation. We heard footsteps around us. We felt like we just weren't alone. And we started snapping pictures. And this mist, what was interesting about this is that, we snapped a few, and there were actually there's 2 mists that occurred, and they just weren't there in any other pictures. They weren't there in any of our videos that when we played them back. It wasn't a bug, we could tell you that, but it just appeared, and it was you could tell that it was there because we could actually feel something behind us.
Mm-hmm.
But that
so Aaron or Sabrina, have you guys seen photos like this before? I mean, this is again, we were new to this whole stuff.
That's
this
very
whole
true.
thing, right? We were very early on in our time investigating. So once we see something like this, like we say, we can rule out the bugs, we can rule
Right.
out those kind of things. But what are your thoughts on this from either of you?
Yeah. I've never seen anything like that in an actual photo, but it does genuinely look as if like it's a blurred something that's running across.
Yeah.
Flying across for sure. And then you've got the next one that almost looks like a beam. Although yeah, it's just strange.
Yeah.
And it
has a heavier energy to it.
It does, and thank you for pointing that out, because it really kind of went with that whole there's something else, right?
Yeah.
That whole feeling of we're no longer just hanging out with trees, right? Like there is something else. I don't want to say stalking us, right?
No, but this is when that started. That feeling that there was somebody just kind of just watching from the distance, kind of coming along with us, making sure we weren't going to disturb or distract anything around. You know, you could definitely sense that as we moved forward here.
Yeah, and something else to note in this photo is the leaves on the ground. This was the time of the year, like fall was, in full force.
You got the crunch.
Leaves were drying out. Absolutely. And being that we were the only people back there, those leaves kind of gave it away whenever we eventually captured the photo that we had looked at before. But so Derek and I were standing there. Behind us, it's very important part of the story. There's these horse stables where these working horses stay on the island all summer. Those are the horses that pulled my big butt around on the cart to show the ghost stories and tell the history of the island before we started. But these horses were out there all night, right? I mean, obviously they're well taken care of and everything, but this was
where they lived.
Yeah. And these were the second giveaway, right? We have those crunching leaves, which was, telling us that there was something around us, that we heard something heavy with a heavy foot walking and trudging through these leaves, cracking, dragging their feet behind them, so to speak. But then all of a sudden, one of these horses, I don't know which one it was. Let's go with the one right in the front just because it's right there. But like this horse just starts freaking out. These horses were not making noise the entire time we were back there.
Yeah, it was that whinnying. Something disturbed them. You're right.
Yeah, and I just we didn't look back, but I just picture, like a horse trying to buck something off of it. It must have been freaking out that much. It was making a ton of noise. And it was so much so that it caught our attention, spun to our left, and Derek, being Mr. Inspector Gadget when it comes to ghost hunting, he just grabs his point and shoot camera and snaps a picture with a flash, right? And you're just looking through the trees that we had just shown, right? And this is what we catch, right? And then now this is way easier to see than the last one we showed a couple episodes ago.
The last one, I was digging through my computer. I'm like, I know I have it here. I'm just going to throw it up, but this is one you can see it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's tall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so based on the foliage and everything, we're estimating about 7 to 8 feet tall to the top of his head.
That was best guess, was around 7 to 8 feet. And even if you look at that handprint on the thermal image, that handprint is much lower, probably half of that tree. So even if you did apply that to this watcher, which is what we're calling it, because we don't know. But these stories of the watchers and the Native American grounds, I mean, that's what is tied to this place. And I even remember showing the group Hidden Marietta, who runs the whole thing. They were so excited to get this. They were like, we've been looking for these guys forever.
They were upset with us.
Yeah.
They were mad.
Like the
They
first
were like,
time you
we've
guys
investigated
come,
here 10 times. That's beginner's luck. Sometimes it takes that, right?
that's true.
Just blind luck. But like Aaron and Sabrina, when you see this, because obviously we're biased, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But like when you're looking at this, what are your thoughts? And I hate keep putting you guys on the spot, but I'm genuinely curious what you guys like the initial impressions looking at this. What you guys think?
I mean, I can see this one much clearer than the picture that you guys showed that last episode. For sure, it becomes very clear. But I do think like so I've never looked at any of the evidence for the Blennerhassett. We really haven't talked very much in our interactions outside of the podcast about this. But every picture that you guys have shown, even with structures in place, whatever, the only thing my eyes are ever drawn to are the trees, not the woods. But
Sure.
like individual old trees, like I can't look away from them.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's interesting to me because I feel like that presence, maybe not this particular one, but there is a presence at the trees, right?
And that is how they explained them. They were just kind of amongst the tree line.
Right. Like that's even what was the Neal House? Like even looking at that, I'm looking at the house, but all I can see are the old trees directly behind it. Like yes, like I'm only looking at these trees back behind there, like that little big grouping of trees to the left. Like that's where my attention is drawn to. That it does feel like there are things that are just right on the edge of the woods there, not even in the woods, but just behind the trees.
It does make you wonder if it's something about the trees, about these watchers just being there, their presence. You know, if there's something that just draws us there, knowing that they're there, you know, that's the sense that they want. They want you to, you know, represent the island in a correct light. And they want to preserve it and protect it like they always have. So do they want you to know that they're there? You know?
Yeah.
I think they just want to make sure people are treating the place with dignity and respect. You know what I mean? Like they are, that sense of protection is so strong. They just, I don't know that they care if you see them or not. They want to make sure that you are treating their home with respect. I don't know. What do you think, Sabrina?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. And I mean, in the last review that we did, it was like the woods over to the left-hand side, just like you were saying, like that's where I was drawn to too. And definitely they just want the place that they've been around to be respected.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. I feel very, very drawn to the indigenous line there too. Like this doesn't feel like a typical spirit in what we normally interact with. This is different. It has a very, very different, like older, more natural, and I don't know how, like it's pulled from nature. Like that energy is directly from nature. It is intertwined with the earth there, if that makes sense. Like it is very much pulled from there.
Yeah.
Ancient. It feels ancient. I mean, that's the best way that you can describe something like this.
Yeah.
So I would like to dissect this a little bit. So I know that Derek, I don't remember, did we, at the time we took this photo, did we see this or did we wait? Where this was pointed out to us when we showed people? I don't remember how that worked.
We had no idea what we got. We actually we went back to the group. We went back to Hidden Marietta, the campsite, and what we actually went to show them was what we thought was the audio capture. And I will.
That's right.
Come out and say hi.
That's what we went to show them. You can hear
that horse in the back.
You can hear the horse whinnying in this one, so you know that they were disturbed. we got the breathy high, and that's actually what we went back to show them. And so we explained, where did you get this? So we went and we explained where it was. We tried to show them some of our pictures, which is actually where this mist came from. They were like, "Did you see this?" So then we got into that a little bit more, and then we're flipping through pictures to make sure that, like, hey, look, this mist wasn't, this wasn't in this picture or that picture or that picture. And then this one comes up and they're like, "Whoa, wait a second. Did you see this?" We're like, "What are you talking about? Some trees, right?" And I think
that's closer to how I remembered it, because I didn't think that we had seen this at the moment. Because honest to God, if I would have, I would probably. I'm not too much of a man to say that I would have left. Right, I wouldn't have poked this bear anymore, so to speak.
We wouldn't have followed. We would not have gone down that path.
Derek would have. Don't.
And we came back to episode 1 where I said that's why Derek is going to die first. If one of us dies doing investigations, it's going to be Derek, because he's going to chase this. He's going to chase this thing, and
he would have hunkered down right next to it to try to engage with it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after they told us what it was or what they thought it was, and the kind of the stories behind it, we went right back there. We went and we looked, and we spent some more time here, but never did we get anything like this again.
But if you remember, when we went back here to try to stir it up again, not that we ever actually did that, but if you remember when we struck out trying to get anything on photo again, we were kind of like, just coming up empty with a lot of things. But if you remember, when we were walking back, we were kind of like felt rejected, like, now we lost our chance. But when we were walking back, we're walking on this gravel path that is the roadway for the horses, all the way back past the mansion and everything else. That entire walk back, you could hear something walking in the gravel behind us. Yep. And when Derek and I would stop, you could actually hear something continue to take another step or two in the gravel. So it was, I don't want to say that that's what it was following us, but this is a very common experience on this island for people to see things darting in between the trees.
Right.
And after we caught that, I think that, I think we're kind of the greatest ghost hunting group ever made. I'm gonna say.
Okay, that's where you were going with that one.
I just wanted to bring that full circle and make sure everybody else understands it.
I mean,
it doesn't surprise me at all that after going back trying to engage with it, that it didn't engage with you back necessarily, or after you're trying to go back, like I don't want to say it was not trying to make itself known. It was trying to keep an eye on you, but not necessarily be known to you. I feel like you caught him by happenstance.
Yes. Yep. Right? And these watchers aren't commonly known to even communicate.
Right. A lot of the entities that we work with, like some of them want to be known, and they very much want to be known. They did not. You just happened to be lucky enough to catch it.
Well, that kind of explains its face, because it looks like we walked in on it taking a shower. Like it was like, oh, did you just? Like very much the vibe, right? It's like, no, like that must be like a baby one that just like didn't understand that it wasn't supposed to be seen.
Another thing, if you think about it, outside of the face, you can actually see like what appears to be a leg, as if it was walking from tree to tree.
I almost see a hand in front of its face too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've never noticed.
Right, like it's like right next to its mouth there.
Yeah, it's almost like, like what are they doing?
Yeah.
That's really neat. See, this is why I love this. I mean, we've had this for how many years, Derek? Probably 8 years we've had this photo. I've never noticed that, where it had like that, almost like a hand underneath its neck, almost like scratching its chin. Like, what are we looking at here?
It's almost like it's like scrunched up there, like it's trying to make itself smaller behind the tree. You know what I mean? It's pulled its arm in.
It's so neat. Like I could spend days talking about this picture. I'm so jazzed by this. Like it brings excitement to me to look at it. It's so neat. But I think that it's important that we know what a watcher is, right? Because that's where we started getting into that, like just very kind of candidly, like these watcher spirits are things that the Native Americans actually leave behind, correct? And they were never actually a living person. Like
Correct.
these are not entities as we know them to be ghosts per se. But what are they exactly?
I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? I mean, it's a tradition, as a lack of a better term for it. It's something that these natives would leave in protected places. Most of the time, it was something that was ancient. That term keeps coming up. Something where it could be a burial ground. It could be a hunting ground, something that is just extremely important to them. And they would call upon these watchers, and what they're typically found in these stories to be, you guys kind of hit it on the head when we're talking like the edge of the woods, right? It's typically on the outskirts of things, forests, rivers, even to the point of their living settlements, just kind of where they were living at the time. And it could be any of these number of things as to where they're located and why they're there. And I just think that that's one of the most important parts of their real reason for being, right?
Yeah, and we're gonna spoiler alert, there's gonna be part 3. So we have another last part of the island that we're gonna cover on the next episode. But there's a reason that these things are here, right? It is not because Aaron Burr hung out here for a bit. Right. It is not because of any of that, right? This is well before that, dude.
Yes, absolutely. They're much farther back. They go so much further back in time. I mean, so before there was any thought of settlement taking place here.
Yeah. So there was a lot of fighting between Native Americans and the early settlers on this island. I think we talked about it before, but Chief Nemacolin, who is a very prominent figure in the Native American culture, he met his match on this island, right? He actually died on this island. So there's a figurehead within the Native American culture that, won battles. He literally put blood, sweat, and tears into standing up for his people. He died on this island. Like, I can't think of a better reason that one of these things or multiple of these things would have been left there to stand guard over him, the other fallen soldiers, so to speak,
and what
on the island.
And what's more to it, they don't know where he's buried. They have like you're saying, they have these there's signage all over the place. There's the location where it's called Nemacolin's Field. They don't know. They don't have an exact spot where he is, where he's buried. So to add to that mystique of Chief Nemacolin, there's no real telling where he is on the island. The Watchers seem to know. They keep showing up all over the place. Just another reason to watch over them, to watch over the island. And what's shown here a little bit is one of the locations where this is typically where people actually give offerings to Chief Nemacolin. We were one of those people.
Oh, we prepped for that too. Remember, we like drove around to gas stations looking for tobacco that we could buy and then like take as an offering. Like we kind of felt like some pretty tough dudes buying some wacky tobacco and taking it out and lighting it for them. It was a pretty good time. We enjoyed ourselves.
Well, and I mean, it's served us well, right? I mean,
I think so.
If you look what we got, it's, if nothing else, it was showing our respect to it, to the island, to Chief Nemacolin himself. Maybe the Watchers are stepping forward, saying, "Look, we acknowledge this. we realize that you're here for good reason, for good cause."
Yeah, and I don't think that the Watchers are anything but their name would entail, right? They're not there to do anything. I honestly, I don't feel that. And I did research this a little bit prior to this episode. And that's kind of the vibe that I got. Like, they're called Watchers because they watch. They don't attack. They don't ask you to leave. They don't try to scare you or anything, right? It's not like a haunting situation. It is purely respect.
And typically they stand back. They never show up in your face. They're not right there. They're not there to communicate, telling you to leave. Some of the more negative entities that we cross, we have been told to get the F out, and we are scared at times, forced out, but these Watchers don't even want to come close to us. That's not their intent.
Yeah, exactly. And I gave it away already, right? We're going to be getting into a third and final kind of reflection type episode following this one, where we kind of put a bow on Blennerhassett Island and the special place that it is for us. But it reminds me that, again, this is one of those investigations that just reminds and brings to light why we investigate, right? And why we do it in the way that we do, in a respectful manner, in a way that is not, trying to upset things. We're doing it just to learn, just to see what is out there and kind of keep an open mind on things. And I think that this situation with this Watcher, where these seemingly just energetic beings, that is their sole purpose is to just make sure people are being respectful and not taking advantage of the location. I think that this is, a personification of that feeling where, this is why we do it the way we do it.
I think there's something that's really profound and beautiful about, you talk to people about saying, oh yeah, I'll do paranormal investigations. They're like, oh, ghosts, scary.
Exactly.
I think that there's something that is so profoundly beautiful about being exposed to a cultural tradition or something that holds cultural significance, such as this, and coming into contact with that and knowing that there's something that is, it's bigger than or different than what you would traditionally think of, or what someone who maybe doesn't have experience with paranormal investigations is experiencing on there. There's just, to be able to see this thing and then to research it and understand it and see how it plays into to different cultures and how it, the impact historically is really, it's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now the sad part. The sad part is that I believe as of last year they are no longer doing this investigation. Is that did I make that up? Was that like a fever dream, or is that the truth?
No, that's my understanding as well. That I don't know if it was the island and the historical societies pushing back, and they don't want the campers coming and staying the night, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I do know that the Hidden Marietta is calling it quits on this location. I don't know if there's any coming up, like, to kind of end their time here, but if there is, we should definitely look into one last hurrah. go back to
Yeah.
this place one more time. I'm not sure of their time frame or anything like that, but I did hear the same thing. I did hear that they're closing up shop here.
Okay, well that's unfortunate. And if we of course hear anything, Aaron and Sabrina, if we find out that they're doing this again, we're gonna be the first ones on that boat to get over there, and you're gonna be going with us.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
sounds great.
Yeah, for sure. Well, everybody, thank you for again crossing the bridge with us tonight, and for making the journey back safely. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and remember, you can always return from the other side of the bridge. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.